Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see it. In today's episode, the topic is: was sitting Kawhi Leonard the right thing for the Clippers to do? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community, a place where you can start basketball discussions, chat live during games, so many other cool things. We have that link in the description below. And also make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel to receive loyalty badges from us. So anyway, let me get into this topic here. So I saw the game yesterday, and I want to do a video to kind of consolidate my thoughts on everything. So the Clippers this season, it was a pretty interesting season, but ultimately the Clippers ended up making history for themselves as an organization, making it to their first conference finals ever. All throughout the playoffs, I think Kawhi Leonard was proven that he was the best player in the world all along. I always felt he was the best player. I felt Kawhi was better than Kevin Durant. I thought he was for sure better than LeBron James, and he was putting up amazing numbers across the board. There was no one that was playing as well as Kawhi Leonard, probably with the exception of Kevin Durant. He was the only one. And when I talk about playing better, I'm just talking about scoring. KD was scoring more points than Kawhi Leonard, but he was the primary option on the team, so he was going to take the majority of the shots. But Kawhi Leonard's numbers these playoffs were out of this world. He was averaging 30 points again in the playoffs. He was shooting a career high from the field, 57% from the field, 53.7% from the field. That's higher than Joel Embiid. He was shooting 39% from the three, 88% from the free throw line, getting 7.7 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 2.1 steals. These were his numbers these playoffs, and he put in multiple 40-point plus performances, multiple 30-point plus performances. There's no way the Clippers get out of round one against a feisty Dallas Mavericks team if Kawhi Leonard doesn't play at the level that he plays. Obviously, Paul George helped them in some of the latter games in those series. But I think in the first round, PG had only scored 30 points, I think once, or not even once, if I'm not mistaken. I think he scored 30 points once. I think that was in game 6, if I'm not mistaken. There was one game where both of them scored 30-plus points together for the first time. So I don't think the Clippers make it out of round one without Kawhi Leonard. That's the first thing. In the second round, they were facing the best team in the NBA as far as the record was concerned. They go to Utah. They drop the first 2 games, close games, tough games. Come home, and they tie up the series. And then in game 4, Kawhi Leonard has a freak accident where he just twists his knee. And he goes out in game 4. And, at the end of the game, he said it's no big deal, nothing to worry about. And we all presumed that he was going to come back the next game. And since game 4, Kawhi Leonard has been MIA. And it turned out he either had a right knee sprain or ACL tear, one of the two, right? And since that point, we've all been speculating what's going to be, is Kawhi Leonard coming back? Is Kawhi Leonard coming back? And it seemed like once Kawhi Leonard went down, it looked like the Clippers championship hopes just went out the window, right? Because listen, the Clippers are a great team. They're a deep team, but I never saw them winning the championship without their best player. Simple and plain. In the NBA, you need talent to win. It's just that simple. And when you lose the best player in the world, your chances of winning a title doesn't increase. It goes down. No matter how much other players on the team are playing inspired basketball, no matter how well Terrence Mann and these guys are playing, don't get yourself fooled into believing that all of a sudden, oh, we can do it. No, you can't do it. Your best player, when you lose your best player, your team gets worse, right? So they lose him, and then the other teammates started to pick it up. Paul George and these guys started to pick it up. They went into Utah and they responded with probably the best game they as a team in the season. They're going into Utah where everybody picked them to lose. They won that game 5 without Kawhi Leonard. Paul George and these guys step up. They come home, and Paul George and Terrence Mann especially has a magical third quarter at home when they were down by 25 points in that third quarter. He scores 20 points in that third quarter, and they just come back. And of course, Reggie Jackson in the fourth quarter helps them So to cap it all out, and I think Paul George ended up scoring, I think 10 points in that fourth, if I'm not mistaken. And they end up sealing that victory in Game 6 and basically beating the Utah Jazz 4 games in a row, and 2 of those games without their best player and the best player in the world in Kawhi Leonard, and they were gone. And then they ultimately advanced. Then we get to the second, to the conference finals, and I was saying to myself, I said, well, given the fact that the Clippers have been vague with the information that they were putting out regarding the status of Kawhi Leonard, I speculated and said, listen, I thought Kawhi Leonard was going to come back Game 4. This is what I felt all along. Other people felt like he was gone for the season, like Skip Bayless. Other people felt he may come back in people felt different. Many people felt, had different things to say. But I thought that he was going to come back in Game 4. And that didn't happen. He was at the arena. And there have been some people that have been questioning, why doesn't Kawhi Leonard sit on the bench? I think it's a precautionary measure. Because what if a player, somebody runs into him, you need to make a sudden movement and this, and then you just put yourself in a situation that's not necessary. Secondly, what is the purpose of him sitting on the bench? What does it provide? What does it say? That what? It says nothing, right? I mean, that he's supportive of his team. We've already done videos of Kawhi Leonard always in constant communication with his teammates. So I just think it's people that are just looking to have nothing else to say and they just want to say something. I think if that's the gripe that you have with Kawhi Leonard, you have nothing else better to do with your time to sit there and say, well, why isn't he sitting on the bench? Like, what is it? And if he does sit on the bench, what does it mean? That he's more supportive of his team. That's just eye service. He's there. Oh, he's sitting on the bench. It means it means nothing. Like the guy's already there. We posted a picture on our Instagram that was sent to us by one of our members, seeing him at film study with his teammates. I think it was on the 25th. So, I mean, come on, like, we need to stop with that. Some people are just reaching. But then the Clippers, they had to go on without him. And listen, I think the Clippers have been running on fumes. This team has not had 2 days in a row of rest for the entire month of June. That's something that's unheard of in the regular season, right? They will say if you do that in the regular season, injuries will ensue. This team has been playing every other night for the entire month of June, and they've been running on fumes. And somehow, some way, they're still in these games. Now, to Kawhi Leonard, to the point of whether or not did they make the right decision to sit him out, here are my thoughts and opinions on that. I think the team should do whatever is in the best interest of their best player. They should not put themselves first. They should put the best player first. As an organization, you want to send a message that you're going to do whatever it takes to protect your best player, in this case, your number one asset, right? I don't think the Clippers should put Kawhi Leonard in any type of situation where he comes back too soon or comes back unnecessarily. He ends up re-aggravating an injury, exacerbating the problem, and then ultimately causing him, number one, to lose trust in the organization for trying to rush him back on the floor, and number two, causing him to miss more time next season. We saw a situation like that occur with the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant. Tried to come back. He wasn't healthy. He went out there, ruptured his Achilles. I think it was in Game 5 or Game 6 in the NBA Finals. Wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. It caused him to miss an additional year of his career. That wasn't worth it. The virtue signaling, oh, I'm going to show out there. I'm going to come out there and prove to you that I really, really care. It was a stupid decision to make. Had no business being out there. And it cost him a year of his basketball career. And ultimately, he didn't even end up re-signing with that team. So I think the Clippers, they should do whatever it takes to make sure that they secure the future of Kawhi Leonard. Number one, we already know what Kawhi Leonard gives you. We already know what he gives you. So it's not like I said, oh, he's you need to prove it. No, we already know what Kawhi Leonard gives you. And if you know what Kawhi gives you, especially in the playoffs, you don't risk that. You don't risk that, and you don't risk the future of this guy's career just to win a game or two, right? You live to fight another day. Secondly, with Kawhi Leonard's departure from the lineup, I think it has given there have been some pros to this. Number one, is given some other teammates minutes in these playoffs, valuable minutes to really develop them and give them some playoff experience. Players like Terrence Mann have flourished since Kawhi Leonard's departure from the starting lineup. Players like Ivica Zubac, these guys have gotten valuable playoff minutes, in the absence of Kawhi Leonard. So I think that's been good. I think another thing that's been good since Kawhi Leonard has been out of the lineup is help the team kind of learn to play without him and really build some championship mettle, build some tough skin, fight through adversity. Kawhi Leonard himself had already been through wars, and he had come out victorious on the other end, but some of these players had not been through those type of things. I think it was good to have Paul George in a situation where he was the number one option on this team to try to carry them through adversity. I think it's something that's going to help them in the future, right? So I think there've been some pros, with Kawhi Leonard not being in the lineup, as far as them making the decision to have him not play, right? I don't know if it's a team decision. I don't know if it's his decision. I don't know if they make that decision in unison. No one knows, right? I don't know how those things are done. That's the one thing I wanted to say about that. Another thing, I think they've also proven to themselves that they know how to build a good team. Lawrence Frank and these guys, because they've proven that they have the deepest team in the NBA by far. No other team, I don't believe, could have been able to stay this long in the playoffs without their best player. I just don't think there's another team out there, right? There are other teams that couldn't even stay. There are other teams that couldn't even stay in the playoffs with their best player, let alone this team that's still playing going into July without their best player. I think that's incredible. Really, I think it's incredible, and I think they've gained something through this bit of adversity. Finally, I read some things that some people had to say about whether or not Kawhi Leonard should have played. Listen, I think people shouldn't be selfish, right? Don't be selfish. Because you want the Clippers to win doesn't mean that somebody else should jeopardize themselves to make you happy. Because you felt, well, why couldn't he just play? Well, because you're not in his position. You can't speak for somebody. Why doesn't he just play? Because you're assuming, well, because if it was me, I would just do it. Yeah, but it's not you, and you're not in that situation. So I think it's wrong to say what people should do with their bodies, in this case as an athlete. You have no right to say that. You can say, I wish he played, but don't say he should have played, right? I think that's wrong. I think Skip Bayless made that mistake in the past, and he ended up looking foolish. Kawhi Leonard quit. He quit. Then he went the next year and won a title. So I think that's the wrong thing to say, and I don't think anyone has the right to tell this guy whether or not he should play or not. I think that's just the wrong thing to do, and I hope the team is not stupid enough to do that to Kawhi Leonard, because ultimately the San Antonio Spurs did that, and look what happened to them. So I think that's the wrong thing to say. I think there are two things you can't tell people to do. To be quite honest with you, there are two things. Number one, you can't tell people how to raise their kids. It's not your bloody business. It's not your kids. You never tell someone how to raise their kids, no matter how you feel they're raising your kids. You have no right to tell someone how to raise their kids. And number two, you have no right to tell people how to spend their money. These are just things you don't do, right? There's certain lines you don't cross. If people make their money, if somebody's making $2 million, $10 million, whatever it is a year, and all he wants to do is spend money in the strip club, or all he wants to do is buy McDonald's, all he wants to do is eat sushi every day, all he wants to do is spend it, that's his business. No one has the right to tell someone how to spend their money if they're the ones making it. It really, we don't have that right. So we don't have the right to tell Kawhi should, no, you're going too far. I think you're going a little bit too far. I think, just respect the guy's decision. If he's not playing, it's for a reason. I saw Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs with the San Antonio Spurs against the Golden State Warriors injure his ankle, I think it was, in the first quarter, came back in the game and kept playing, and then got it re-injured again in the second half, right? He came out there to show, I want to show that I can give you guys, I want to show I can be here for you, and look what happened. Zaza Pachulia ended up ruining the guy, and he ended up missing a year, right? So Kawhi's been in that position before. I think he's learning. He's learned from other players like Isaiah Thomas, like Kevin Durant, and these guys. Listen, you got to have a long-term perspective on this thing. Would it have been nice to have him out there? Absolutely. Sure, it would have been nice, right? I mean, I think the team wins it all with him. Right, and I think they're really missing him right now. And I don't think the Phoenix Suns are that much better than the Clippers, because the Clippers are without their best player, the best player. The Phoenix Suns are at full strength, and they can barely beat the Clippers. Barely beat them. So I think if you put Kawhi Leonard into the equation, I don't think these two teams are close at all. But those are just my thoughts and opinions on this. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think as far as Kawhi Leonard and the team, deciding to let him sit? What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.